Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Empowering Teachers Worldwide. I'm Aniel Tamirano, and today I'd like to talk about the process of writing for English foreign language students. Now, as English language teachers, we often face multiple pressures during the academic year. Unfortunately, this can lead to writing being relegated to homework, but there's a problem with this approach. Weaker students end up struggling alone, and they often see themselves as failing writers because they don't have enough support. Stronger students miss valuable opportunities for improvement, and the dynamics of the teaching and learning, the relationship between readers and writers is completely lost. This is why it's crucial to devote class time to writing. As Zamel pointed out in 1983, this allowed for a dynamic teaching and learning relationship between not just the teacher and the students, but between readers and writers. So, how can we effectively approach writing in the classroom? My favorite method is the process approach, which is not new, but sometimes we need to remember this. The process view of writing sees writing as a journey of discovery. It involves a variety of classroom activities that promote language development, including setting goals, generating ideas, organizing information, selecting appropriate language, drafting, reading and reviewing this draft, and revising and editing. And this approach really encompasses the full spectrum of writing development because it is what writers do in real life. So let's break down the typical sequence of activities in this approach. Uh, First of all, we have the pre writing stage, which is made up of five different stages: brainstorming, generating ideas, mind mapping for organization, planning what we are going to write, and forming opinions. The second stage is the drafting stage, where we select and reject ideas, we develop a sense of audience, we structure the piece, we plan out the paragraphs, and then we put ideas into sentences. And I say we because as teachers, we also write and we are also writers. So this process approach is useful for both us as writers and for our students. And there is something that I've always thought that if we teachers write, we can effectively teach our students to write. The next stage, yes, it's editing. Editing is a very important part of the writing process because this is where the real magic begins. Exchanging drafts with peers and giving each other feedback, then revising the feedback that was given, checking for errors, reordering and restructuring the writing, the text, if necessary, and then finally focusing on grammar and vocabulary. And then we have the final step. Uh, we have written, we have edited, and now we publish. And this is presenting the finished product, the finished piece to the readers. Now, how do we implement this approach in the classroom? Let's see. First of all, we need to sort of, let's say, set the stage. Start by encouraging students to work in pairs or in small groups. Groups of three, I wouldn't say larger groups because if you have a larger group, there is a lot of distraction involved. This collaborative approach can help reduce anxiety and promote idea sharing. So, you need to ensure that students understand the task by, first of all, clarifying the meaning of key expressions. Take time to explain any unfamiliar vocabulary or phrases in the writing prompt. Make sure they understand exactly what they have to do. Use examples or visuals to illustrate meaning. And also, I have found this strategy useful. Asking students to explain what they have to do to other students, so that in this way you can check that they have understood the task. Then, help students select the information they need to fulfill the task. Guide them in identifying the main requirements of the writing task. You might create a checklist together as a class. Then, very importantly, create a comfortable atmosphere. Encourage a supportive classroom environment where the students feel safe to share ideas and make mistakes. And then set clear expectations. Explain the goals of the writing task and how it will be evaluated. You may consider using a think, pair, share strategy to get the students comfortable with sharing ideas before diving into the writing process. Then, what we need to do next is to get the ideas flowing. Getting started is often the hardest part for students. That is, this staring at the blank space of the page, the blank surface of the page, and saying, "Oh my God, what am I going to write?" So this is the hardest part of the writing process. So here is how you can help. First of all, activate their background knowledge. Use pictures, short videos, questions to stimulate thinking about the topic. Use brainstorming activities to generate ideas. Try techniques like mind mapping, free writing, or the 6 W's: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Facilitate discussions to help students think about the topic. Encourage open ended questions and respectful debate to explore different aspects of the topic, and guide them in discovering their purpose and deciding on a perspective. Help students identify their stance on the topic and what they want to achieve with their writing. You may use a carousel brainstorming activity where students rotate around the room, adding ideas to different topic related posters. Then, then comes the point of organizing the ideas. Once the students have their initial ideas, they may have lots of ideas. So the problem is, okay, what shall I do with all these ideas? It's time to organize them. So ask students to extend their ideas into note form. Teach them how to create concise, meaningful notes from their brainstorming session. Encourage them to judge the quality and the usefulness of their ideas. Students tend to want to use all their ideas, and sometimes these ideas are not necessarily irrelevant or redundant. So guide them in evaluating which ideas are the most relevant and impactful for their writing purpose. Introduce graphic organizers like mind maps or spidergrams, demonstrate how to use them effectively, show them how they can reveal connections between ideas. It's a good idea to model this first as a class on the board. Do think alouds. That is, explain your thinking process as you are using the graphic organizers so that they know they can see you doing this before they try to do it themselves. Also, teach basic outlining techniques. shows students how to create a simple outline with main points and supporting details. You can provide templates, different graphic organizing templates to cater to different learning styles and writing tasks. It's useful to have a bank of graphic organizer templates and ask students to have a look and choose the one they feel most comfortable with. Then, it's time for students to write the first draft. And here are some key points to remember. This should be done in class, often in pairs or in small groups. Encourage collaboration, but ensure that each student is actively involved in the writing process. Encourage them to think about their audience as they write. Discuss who will be reading their work, how this might influence their writing style and the content. Develop a sense of audience. This is crucial, especially for less mature writers. Provide exercises to help students understand how writing changes based on the intended reader. Explain how it is different, for example, to write a letter to a friend from writing a letter to the head of the school or to a newspaper editor. Focus on getting ideas down. Remind students that this is a first draft and perfection is not the goal at this stage. At this stage, you can use a silent writing technique where students write continuously for a set of time without stopping. And then in this way, they can overcome writer's block. Then students exchange drafts and they become the readers of each other's work. And by responding as readers, they develop an awareness of audience. And this is a very important part of the writing experience. When students receive this initial feedback, they review their text and reflect on ways to act on that feedback. The extent of the revision depends on the purpose of the writing and the experience of the writer. So, providing students with a checklist will help them revise different aspects of the text. For example, clarity and organization of ideas, and not just the grammar and the spelling, which are, of course, the main concerns of an inexperienced writer. After that, students write their final draft, and they may once again exchange it with a partner. They can read each other's work and perhaps write a response or a reply. And finally, they publish their work. This approach to writing is a powerful tool in the English language classroom. It transforms writing from a solitary, often daunting task into a collaborative, engaging process of discovery and improvement. Remember, the goal is not just to produce a piece of writing, but to develop confident, skilled writers who can effectively communicate their ideas in English. By breaking down the writing process into manageable steps and providing support at each stage, you are setting your students up for success. So, thank you very much for watching this video. And if you want to learn more about this and other topics, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell in the profile to be notified when I post new content. Also, you can visit my website, anieltamirano.com, to learn about the services I provide and read my blog for more teaching tips and resources. Until next time, happy teaching!